Well, we've been talking to Jack going back to the summer, and you know, I know he changed agents, and I talked to his new agent about a month ago, maybe 5 weeks ago. We've been in touch the whole time, and I said the same thing to him then that I did, the other day when this picked back up, which was, we love the player. We don't have a lot of money to spend right now, so if he wants to come here and kind of bet on himself and get a chance to play, we'd love to have him. And I think he was obviously weighing his options and came to the decision that this was the place he wanted to be.
Where do you see him more as a winger or a center?
He played probably more wing last year. I think he's played center in the past. I think kind of in general we like guys that have that flexibility. So he's a right-handed center as well, like if we choose to use him there. So it's flexible. I mean, that'll be up to the coaches, but we think he did a little bit of both last year, probably more wing.
Is this kind of like picking up a cabinet last year?
Yeah, I think, we talked about it actually a couple weeks ago, the type of player looking at our team that we would be wanting to look for around the trade deadline would be this type of a player exactly. And, he's available now and he's a free agent and you can get him signed, at a low amount. There's a lot of things that really worked in our favor. So, instead of waiting to see what was available, we think he could be a really nice piece to our group right now. And he's had a good experience as far as even strength scoring last year. I think he might have led their team in even strength points last year. Yeah, 5-on-5. So that's really an important thing. That's the one thing we're trying to add to our group is even strength scoring. Obviously, our power play has been pretty strong the last few years. We haven't had as much success scoring when we weren't on the power play, so I think that's something that Jack does really well. So that was a big thing that we think he's going to bring. We also like his speed. He brings a lot of quickness to his game. He can make plays, play with good players. Like, he's been an offensive player, and he plays at a high pace. So I think those qualities fit perfectly with our group here.
Is he eligible for a conditioning stint, or would you try to do that given that he's missed all camp?
We haven't talked about that. We'll get him in here. We'll get him, see how he looks. I mean, he's been skating, obviously not with an NHL team. So, he's played 500 games in the league. I think he's in good shape. I don't know how long it would take him to get going.
What kind of role do you envision him playing on this team? A top six forward, a bottom six forward? What is your initial reaction to that?
It's up to the coaches to figure out. We got a really talented, versatile offensive player, so we can use him a lot of different ways depending if he's playing wing or center. It's just looking at options, and I think we're a much better team when we add someone like that to the mix.
So Stan, did he come back to you guys and say, okay, are you guys still interested?
I've been in touch with his agent going back. Like I said, he switched agents at the end of the summer. Justin Duberman's his new agent. I've been talking to Justin regularly. And like I said, from when he called me to find out, kind of where things were, since he knew we were interested in the summer, ever since that conversation, I said, we'd love him, but we just don't have a lot of money to spend. So, he said, yeah, I kind of figured that, but I wanted to make sure you're still interested, and that hasn't changed. And then I guess, maybe with the season starting, they were probably looking at their options, and they felt this was best.
Has there been any shift in Zach Hyman's timeline at all?
No.
Still tracking to that
Yeah.
November-ish, early November?
Mm-hmm.
Is there a roster move going to be required here in order for this to be executed officially?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to figure that out. We have a few ideas in mind, but we haven't totally figured that out. The biggest thing was this is a really unique opportunity to get a player of his caliber without giving up any assets, to have him come right into our team. It fits in salary cap wise, so it really thought about it like this. We would be kicking ourselves if we looked back and he went somewhere else. Like, why didn't we get him? We have a lot of good players now, but you're always looking for players that are established, and we think he's going to be a nice fit.
There are some guys that fall through the cracks in free agency. It happens kind of year to year, but a 22-goal guy like it. What's kind of your sense of how this happened and why he was still there?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we had talked to him, and for where it just wasn't a fit at those conversations back then, it wasn't going to work. The math wasn't going to work, but we liked the player. Like, the player hasn't changed, and now obviously it's a little bit of a different situation with where they are. So it was a pretty easy decision for us.
Was there any one thing that pushed this over the hump to get a contract signed?
As far as, what do you mean?
Just getting the contract signed and officially. You've been in contact with him for a while. What was the thing that kind of?
I think he just needed to make his mind up. I mean, he could probably answer that better than me. I mean, we haven't, nothing's changed on our end. We've liked the player, we've liked him for a while, and then eventually, I guess he decided that this was the best place for him.
Was there any talk of a 1-year deal being anything more than 1 year?
No, 1 year deal.